Now, is this something that could be rolled out across the country? Who knows? Students at a London school can now stay in class for nearly 12 hours a day. And that's part of the head teacher's plan to break their addiction to their iPhones.
It's hoped that these extracurricular activities, which are voluntary, not compulsory, will get pupils to fill the extra time in a healthier way. Is it the solution to getting kids off their phones by keeping them at school longer? We're joined by the head teacher, Andrew O'Neill, who's implementing this idea in his secondary school. And also, to talk about this, the rapping science teacher, Matt Green, who says kids spend enough time at school already and he wouldn't necessarily want them to spend longer. But, Andrew O'Neill, parents are plagued by mobile phones, and when the kids come home, often they'll just go straight to their rooms and be on their phones all afternoon, all evening. And you said, all right, keep them at school then. How successful has it been? It only started yesterday.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. We had about 70 children yesterday, but overnight I think it's increased to 120, which is...
Sorry, 70 yesterday and 120 you signed up for tonight?
Yeah, so it's really increased. I think, obviously, people have seen the interest in it, and I think people have understood now that it's, as you said, Susanna, it's not mandatory. Children can choose...
But that sounds like word of mouth. It sounds like the 70 who went yesterday have gone home and told their parents, they've told their friends, and you virtually doubled the numbers in 24 hours.
Yeah, well, I mean...
Incredible.
I think, obviously, it was the first day yesterday, and, you know, always the way with children, they want to see how things start off. The children loved it yesterday. You know, I was with them yesterday evening as they were having their meal. They really enjoyed the activities that were put on for them, and they've obviously got...
There will be other schools asking, where have you got the money to do this? Because that's a lot of extra staff and a lot of extra activities. And as you said, there's a hot meal involved too.
Yeah, well, there's two meals. There's breakfast and there's dinner. The breakfast, children don't have to come in at 7 a.m. in the morning. No, we've never, ever said that. So they can choose to come in to breakfast if they'd like to. But then, in terms of funding, it is costing a lot. We're only charging £10 a week, but it's a pilot. We want to see how this...
So that's £2.50 a day?
Out. £2.50 a day, and I'm funding the rest of it from school budget.
To start with. What time does the bell normally go for going home time?
3:15.
3:15. What time does this now extend to?
It extends to about 6:15, 6:30.
Right. And how bad is phone addiction amongst secondary school pupils, in your view?
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear across the sector. You talk to any teacher, this is a real issue in terms of the vacuum that phones fill for children when they go home. You know, if we look at what's happening in education at the minute, there's a crisis in attendance at school and children attending. And if we look at the last 10 years or so, there's a depletion in services that are available to children after school. And often families and parents will say, what can my child go and do? And in a cost of living crisis, often the first thing to go is extracurricular activities.
Just very quickly, because we must get Matt in with just a minute or so left. This isn't academic stuff they're doing after 3:15. This is fun stuff, basically.
It's a bit of both. We're making sure they get their homework done so that we don't have parents complain about homework, but we're also making sure that actually that they're having sporting activities, drama clubs, oratory, talking, so actually they're going home with a bucket full of endorphins, and that they're having meaningful conversations and relationships with their peers and with their teachers.
Matt Green, how can you think this is a bad idea?
When you put it like that, it's not. The options are great. What I'm against is compulsorily having kids to go to school. So if there was a national change of kids having to start at 9 and finishing at 5, and that had to happen everywhere, I'd be against it. But when there's options and parents can sign up for it, and if their kids want to do it, they can do it, then that's great.
That sounds like he's won you over. Yeah. I mean, the figures speak for themselves. I know it's very early days, but to go from 70 yesterday afternoon, evening, to 120 booked in for tonight, I mean, that tells you something, doesn't it?
Yeah. I thought it was amazing from before we came in today. It was just, if it's compulsory, then I'm against it. If it's optional and parents can choose and kids can choose, then...
Well, it's interesting because viewers agree with you, Matt. They have not backed, in the majority, any compulsory plan to extend the school day. But, Andrew, if it works and it gets them off their phones, all power to you.
I wonder if this interview's changed their minds.